Famous movie characters. When it comes to iconic movies, characters, and more importantly, the actors who gave the character a real face, we all have our favorites. Let's take a look at some of the most incredible movie characters that left a name that never dies. Number 1. Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa, Rocky. Rocky Balboa is a man adrift. He's floating through life, moving from one minor boxing match to the next, and picking up whatever odd jobs he can. He seems to have accepted the fact that his life has no definite path. He isn't involved in anything else. All starts to change after he accepts the invitation to fight heavyweight champion Apollo Creed. Rocky now has everything to strive for. As he trains himself physically and emotionally for this chance to make a name for himself, the audience is along for the ride. Rocky believes he's destined to become the pride of the city. Determined, warrior-like, Rocky knows the odds are stacked against him. No one expects anything more than a flop. He may not be the most natural talent, but that just means he has to work harder than everybody else. He's been doubted his whole life, but this fight is his chance to prove that he's more than just bum from the neighborhood. Rocky Balboa's popularity ranking on Character is number 382 out of 5,600 plus characters. Number 2. Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, Pirates of the Caribbean. Jack Sparrow was a legendary pirate of the seven seas and the irrelevant trickster of the Caribbean. A captain of equally dubious morality and sobriety, a master of self-promotion and self-interest, Jack fought a constant and losing battle with his own best tendencies. Jack's first love was the sea, his second his beloved ship, the Black Pearl. Jack first sailed on the Barnacle with a young ragtag crew on a quest to locate and procure the legendary Sword of Cortez. As a young pirate, he earned the name Jack Sparrow when he trapped the notorious Spanish pirate hunter Captain Salazar in the Devil's Triangle. Throughout his years as an infamous pirate of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow embarked on many adventures, several of which involved gaining items of unique value. Jack was captain of the Black Pearl for 2 years, during which time he searched for the Shadow Gold. Number 3. Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump, Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is one of the most classical English movies. In this movie, Gump has mental retardation and his IQ is just 75. For this reason, he has been bullied and sneered at by the people around him since he was a little boy. However, Gump's mother is strong-minded and she encourages Gump to be self-made. At the same time, his schoolmate Jenny helps him to live without the mock. Because of his mother's education and Jenny's help, Gump forms a special character and outlook on life, as one's language is based on his living environment and his characters and the latter is more important. In movie Forrest Gump, Gump's language characteristics are corresponded with his character. They have special features. Number 4. Marlon Brando as Don Vito Corleone, the Godfather. Vito is portrayed as the archetypal mafia boss in the Godfather trilogy. Barzini lacks class, Don Ciccio appears cruel and petty, and Don Fanucci appears small-time and brutish as compared to him. Even Michael, considering his enormous achievements, comes up short in such a contrast, as he lacks warmth and joie de vivre. It's uncertain if we can believe Solozo's argument that Vito is slipping, but even if he is, even if Vito walks straight into assassins' bullets and survives only through sheer chance, he is still the Godfather par excellence. He is wise and knowledgeable, as well as an outstanding reader of others' motivations and a quick, subtle talker capable of persuading with words, not only bullets. Number 5. Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister, Home Alone. Kevin McAllister may be just 8 years old, but his snappy comebacks and expressive language elevate him to the level of a middle school student. Kevin isn't shy when it comes to processing his emotions and firing them at you as grammatical torpedoes. He does not completely comprehend the inner workings of the adult world or the obligations that come with them, but he has no qualms about sharing his interpretation of them. Kevin's fear of the dark basement is understandable, but his fear of actually losing his family for good is what starts to mature his earlier moaning and complaining. His siblings and elder family tree branches ignored, disrespected, and underappreciated him. However, he learned a valuable lesson. Rage is transient, but family is everlasting. Number 6. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Terminator, the Terminator. Unlike most other Terminators, who would show emotional attachment, anger, shock, fear, and a sense of humor, the T-800 was emotionless, flat, brutal, and ruthless from the start. It almost never displayed any emotion other than a cold, flat face, and it only talked when it wanted to engage others in conversation or divert unwanted attention away from itself. The T-800 was said to have an attitude problem, causing it to physically push people out of the way in order to pass them or use a phone booth. The T-800 was also cruel and ruthless and was easy to kill when others refused to comply with its plans and demands in any way. The first T-800, like most Terminators, was single-minded and inhumanly stubborn in achieving its quest at all costs, to the point that it tried to follow Sarah Connor, despite losing its skin shed and legs in the process. Number 7. Johnny Depp as Edward Scissorhands, Edward Scissorhands. The story of a soulful boy with scissors for hands, who leaves his isolated mansion in search for his true identity, but is unable to assimilate the outside world. Edward is found by Avon saleswoman named Peg Boggs, who takes pity on him and invites him to live in her house. Peg's neighbors are fascinated by Edward. Edward falls in love with Peg's teenage daughter, Kim. Edward becomes popular around the neighborhood by giving free haircuts to dogs and women. However, he gets in trouble when Kim's boyfriend, Jim, convinces him to assist in a burglary by using his hands to pick a lock. His reputation further suffers when his neighbor Joyce falsely accuses him of rape after her unsuccessful attempt to seduce him. Number 8. David Prowse as Darth Vader, Star Wars. Darth Vader is Emperor Palpatine's right-hand man in the original Star Wars trilogy, and he is charged with defeating the Rebel Alliance. Luke Skywalker, the rebel protagonist, is later revealed to be his father. Vader betrays the Emperor in order to save his son's life in the final episode, but he is fatally wounded in the process. Anakin Skywalker's adventure as a young Jedi and his flirtation with the dark side of the Force before becoming Darth Vader are chronicled in a prequel trilogy. The character of Darth Vader was created by director and screenwriter George Lucas. Vader's life follows the standard arc of the hero's journey, a storytelling structure common to Western mythology. Vader was physically played by David Prowse and voiced by James Earl Jones. Number 9. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in Iron Man. Tony Stark is easily one of Marvel's smartest humans. With his intellect, he has hacked technology centuries ahead of his time. His mind is said to be geared towards the future, giving him the ability to predict future events through intuition. He has demonstrated this with the events of Civil War, which he foresaw would occur years before it happened. Using the same technology as his repulsors, Tony made an implant in his chest that prevents the shrapnel from reaching his heart. It has some defensive properties, however, and can discharge electricity to attack enemies when unarmed. To stand up to the gods in the universe, Tony has constructed many mech suits of armor that aid him in combat. Their hulls are generally made of gold titanium alloy, and the suit adds 5 inches to his height. And that's how he ended up creating the Iron Man character.